This has been a crazy last weekend and week, and it's a good start to the spring and summer of Bilbo. My name's Justin, and I'm usually joined by Cliff, and Cliff should be here any moment now. You might hear an echo, you might see our backdrop. We're live from Gollum's cave, actually. There's no we. As you can see, up in the top right corner, right here, right there, we have our trusty little iPad, and this is our Twitter stream, and we're going to show you some of the most popular tweets and Instagram photos from the Vote Bilbo campaign, and then we're going to show you some of the feedback that we got from our Facebook page and everything like that. So this week, so we use colloquy. So how do I join Torn Live? I'm trying to join via my iPhone. Now I keep looking this way because not only am I looking at my iPad screen, but the computer's over there. So, got it working. Dwina, Jenny, hi, how are you? Who else is in here? I just see Dwina and Jenny, and gosh dang it, I don't remember my IRC password. Eric Galen, Bofer's wife. We might just show some ham. I'm just saying. Welcome. So, all right, I got my chat room in one hand and I got my iPad in another. All right, let's. Can you all see me? Can you all see me? Again, this is KISS Best Action Fight live streaming Best Hero, and Best Hero was a new category added last year. Well, this year they decided to open it up to the fans. No one knows who really votes on the awards, but they opened up the one award, the Best Hero, to the fans. And it was a Twitter and Instagram contest. And all you had to do was hashtag vote your favorite hero, and it automatically compiled the votes. Sponsored by Axe Body Spray, which hobbits can use. And the nominees were Hulk, Iron Man, Batman, Catwoman, Snow White, and Bilbo. And 2 weeks ago, I was just moseying on over because MTV Movie Awards, and we were looking at getting press passes so we could cover some of the events. And everybody told me, don't even start. It's a waste of your time. It won't happen. Have you ever tried having an argument with a Twihard, a Twilight fan, or a Robston fan, or Kristen Stewart? There's so many nicknames for this stuff. So I'm checking the chat room. The contest was an uphill battle. There's no way. I mean, Bilbo was so far behind third place, and then it was farther behind Iron Man and Batman. Like, it just didn't seem possible. So, anyway, I said, look, let's take it to Twitter, let's take it to Facebook, and let's take the battle to Instagram. We can't let Bilbo not have a chance against Kristen Stewart, which I don't think she deserved to be a hero. On what the contest was, and
yes.
it was just starting.
Yes, absolutely.
And
well, I was just on the phone with Kalasuri, the head of our wonderful fan organization, who was helping me post a very, very big story about this whole thing that we were just about to talk about. And quite a story it is, too.
It's crazy.
Quite a story.
So
continue, please.
So, I mean, everyone said it was folly. Because I remember, like, emailing
even Doug Brochu, our friend who was on our Torn Tuesday, who's here at Meltdown, Doug Brochu, he tweeted and said, you guys can't go up against that demographic.
No, you can't.
You can't even stand a chance against that demographic. And he knows a thing or two about it.
And he's a ringer. Like, he's hardcore.
Yes, but he also knows how hardcore the Twihard fans are.
Right. And a lot of our fans on the Facebook page were like, this is useless, this is pointless, this is...
They did say that.
Like, there was no point.
There were a lot of naysayers.
A lot of naysayers. I said, look, it doesn't... So all we can do is start at the bottom and move up. Nobody wanted to post.
Not at first.
So I spent the first 2 days, that was all me, posting, coming up with one-liners of reasons why you should vote Bilbo. You know, vote Bilbo because hobbits don't sparkle. You know, vote Bilbo because, so, there was, and I started photoshopping some of the memes and some of the funny, you know, vote Bilbo posters and everything like that. And I just started posting this, and look, people started retweeting it.
They did.
And, you know, on average, let's say, on average, we post on Twitter and Facebook every day. On average, an average tweet will get maybe 5 to 10 retweets. If we have something really clever or really interesting, we might get been retweeted on anything. Was an exclusive Richard Armitage quote, and I think that was like 150. Talk about that in a minute. But I kept doing it. I kept coming up with reasons to beat Batman. You know, the only way we're gonna succumb this, the only way we're gonna get the treasure from the dragon is just one step at a time. One step at a time. 1 foot in front of each other. So suddenly we beat Batman.
How did that happen? It happened over a 24 or 48 hour period.
It happened around the first day. And again, this is only Twitter. Like, I hadn't started Instagram yet at all. So this is just Twitter. And you know, nobody was picking up on it, and still people were like, it is folly, you know, you sit like, you got a little something here. So I started coming up with reasons that Bilbo is better than Iron Man. And if you go back through the timeline, there's some amazing, there's some super fun tweets. Let's see if I can bring some. That's a lot of like it's not just that you have to get the votes, but they started voting in mass.
Well, it wasn't until April 5th that Warner Brothers Pictures came out with their own official support of the hashtag Vote Bilbo, and that happened after we prompted them. Yeah, after so they started noticing.
Iron Man. I got the tweet right here. Iron Man is defeated. This was April 4th. 71 retweets.
Yeah, that was before Warner Brothers had said something on their
Iron Man is defeated. Hobbits really are amazing creatures. Again, so I finally got Bilbo up to second place. And as you can see in the picture,
that was 17,200.
She's still over 11,000 ahead of us.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Like that's over. That's almost 40%. That's like unheard of.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Nearly double.
That's true.
28. So the mountain and so the armies of Twilight were still growing stronger. So that's when the staff kind of picked up on it. And when I posted it to Facebook, on the TheOneRing Facebook, and said Iron Man is defeated, we're in second place.
Was that on the 9th? No. That was on the 5th.
The 4th. Yeah, on the 4th at 4:51. And the people on the Facebook page were like, oh, wow. Some of the comments were like, I didn't think it was possible. Like, you're onto something here.
Oh, little faith.
And I said, we are pulling out some of our classic pictures that we'd been posted, that any picture that on our Facebook page that had gotten over 2,000 likes was up for grabs. So I posted, get him a pony with Twilight Sparkle, and that was 115 retweets. People started freaking out and said, all right, now we're going to have fun with this. And and this is when we started getting feedback from SWAT fans. destroy the world of K-Stew. So
no padding.
no padding. And you know, the fun part was
funny. That's actually quite funny.
The fun part was a lot of fans, a lot of Snow White, Twilight, and Kristen Stewart fans were like, "This has to be bots. This has to be rigged."
Yeah. That's funny that they would suggest that when they were the ones who were employing fake accounts,
right,
and Autobots to spam the Twitter feed.
So there were a few times where someone said, "Where are these votes coming from? Bilbo doesn't have any fans." So
somebody actually said that.
So I actually retweeted that and said, "Ringers, introduce yourself." Well, some of these accounts, like, they immediately closed up shop. Like some of these fangirls from Twilight and Twihards, they like got inundated with hundreds of comments and messages.
How this all happened and how the fan community was galvanized by the forces of these social media things. This was an event, a really cool event, actually. At first it seemed silly. At first some of our own staff were saying, this is quite silly and it might even be a bit annoying. But it ended up being an experiment in social media and an experiment in community building. They didn't believe that the Twihards, the K. Stewart fans, they didn't believe that anybody was going to come close to their voting. Do you know why? Because they were not really Snow White fans. They were voting for the actress.
And they kept saying they weren't.
This is the fan, and of course they denied it, but they were voting for their actress who they prefer in another franchise. It had nothing to do with Swath, Snow White and the Huntsman. Do you know what we were voting on? We were voting on a real hero, the Best Hero Award. Please share. It was the very first time that he mentioned it, and there it was, a really cool, real-time, updated chart. A chart showing the progress of votes. While the
you know what? He posted that after we took the lead. So victory was within reach, and I was just firing on all cylinders, and suddenly it came to me like the end of the Two Towers, when they were at their wits' end. They were so close to victory, and then he yelled out, "Rohirrim!" And yes, that was one of our first 100 retweets. People were freaking out about this. There was so many comments and everything, not just retweets, but comments and people were getting super excited for it.
Oh yeah, and that was before the other Lord of the Rings celebrities started joining us.
Right. No,
this was on April 5th.
This is still just us. Right now we've been, because our friends at Nerdist are taking over the studio. They've outgrown their current situation. So we are looking for new digs, and we're on our own adventure. And so over the coming weeks, you'll start to see some changes. We might go back to Ustream, and we're going to see how this plays out. So we kept going. So I kept, it was getting late, and I said, if Vote Bilbo is going to stay strong in the race overnight, the Tolkienites need to pick it up. Trails by 60 votes.
Only 60 votes. Good Lord. Yeah. You're right. There was only a 60 vote difference at the end of that day.
We needed the help of Europe and Asia and Brazil and everywhere else, Africa, Lithuania. And vote Bilbo, because no huntsman or vampire will ever be hotter than Aragorn. That was fun.
They can see all that. That's great that you have this hooked up. They can
see, as soon as we get good technology going, and then it gets stuttery on the stream, we just can't win. It wouldn't let us pass. It doesn't matter how
really aggressive.
I tried so hard. The fans tried so hard. And we couldn't get it.
This chart showed voting speed. You could see how many votes per minute were being clocked in each category.
Well, first he just had the graph. And so over the course of the next week, he added all these cool stuff. And then after the graph, he added voting millions. So
yes, that was a lot.
Come Gimli, we are gaining on them. So for the next like 4 days, we just couldn't get a break, man. Like I thought I was being kind of clever. So in the middle of that thing,
1.6 million.
In the middle of that thing, fans started getting wise to bots. Well, I started to get creative with some of the tweets. I thought, you know, if we can get some creative. I mean, look, I started making Twitter art. Look, I made a little Twitter dragon. Like,
oh yeah, you did make some Twitter art out of ASCII characters.
You know,
you made a little bag end that was cute.
Yeah, that was.
Did you make that?
That was hardcore.
Did you make that yourself?
It took me an hour of like messing around,
figuring out the ASCII characters to make a Hobbit hole. You did that. Dating.
Yeah, it's slow. Based on Emil confirming that retweets count.
Yes.
That. Why isn't that updating?
Emil Johansson.
Let me fix that.
Go ahead and fix that. He's somebody that I'd like to shake hands with and sit down and have a real nice dinner and a glass of fingers. That's funny, Murtaugh. Due to some room restriction? What room restriction? Can't send message to Torn Live due to some room restriction. I wonder what that room restriction would be. Well, anyway, as long as the video is lagging, don't worry about that. We're going to do what we can to do some, jiggery pokery with that. Wow, when fandom comes together, we really, really did have an amazing experience at community building. It became an exercise in using the numbers and the statistics to figure out where we are in our relationship with our fans and how we reach out to the community. So it became a really, really good exercise for us to figure out what gets the most readability, what gets the most attention, and what you guys respond to the most. When we created the idea of a tweet quest during the final weekend, right before the MTV Movie Awards, we gave everybody the impetus to write out in 140 characters or less what it is they really felt about Bilbo as a hero and why he deserved to be a hero. Because hobbits don't sparkle is an excellent reason why you should vote Bilbo. Because hobbits don't sparkle. But another reason would be how about the fact that Bilbo is the only character in Middle-earth who willingly put the ring down and gave it up. That's something that I mentioned in my article today. Who was the hero of Middle-earth more than any other hero? Somebody who could put the ring down and willingly leave it behind. Nobody else in the history of Middle-earth could do that. Absolutely nobody else could do that. So, our Torn Live colloquy is not working. Damn it. Janet. Damn it, Janet. But the idea of having a popularity contest thrown out of balance by a bunch of other kids who don't really care about Snow White and why she's a hero or why she deserves the award, we weren't going to stand for that. We actually had something to say about our love of Tolkien, our love of the books and these characters and why Bilbo deserved this award. It became something of a different battle for us with a different context. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It became something of a different battle for us.
One of the things I noticed when we started picking up that they might have bots, and I wasn't against that. You know, fans, one of the things I like about fandom is that we're resourceful.
Oh, aren't we?
When it comes to anything, when it comes to making costumes, when it comes to making parodies or videos or photos or riddles and rhymes and limericks, getting inspired. Fans are resourceful. Let's just say that. So I wasn't necessarily. I didn't want to hold it against anybody if they were creating bots and things like that, because like we were using data. I mean, not everybody has a guy like Emil at the ready to give you raw data and actionable data.
True.
So what I noticed was, guess what? If you're gonna spam Twitter and just go blocks and blocks of votes, because what we found out is multiple votes in a tweet are multiple votes on the contest.
Actually,
they changed that.
And Neil Johansson reported that was going to be different.
And they changed that halfway through.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's, at the beginning it was one way of tallying the votes.
In the beginning, it was just how they just counted the hashtags. So if you had 10 hashtags. So what I found was, if you look at the number of letters, you're only allowed 140 characters.
Right.
Vote Snow White is
VOTE
13.
4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes, that's right.
Is 13 characters.
Yes.
Vote Bilbo
is 9.
Is 9.
Yeah.
So we could get 2 extra votes per tweet.
Yeah, we could.
If we just did blocks of text.
God, Vote Hulk could have been the best.
Vote Hulk had the best chance of winning.
Because he could have crammed more hashtags in one tweet.
So when I saw that Snow White just wasn't giving us a break, I thought, wow, blocks of text. And if you searched Twitter, on the search box at the top, if you search hashtag Vote Snow White, you could see what people were tweeting. And it was literally blocks of Vote Snow White. So I said, vote Bilbo, because we can fit more Bilbos per tweet. And guess what? It worked.
For a while.
It worked for a while.
It did work for quite a while.
Blocks and blocks of Vote Bilbo. We were getting 2 extra votes per tweet. That's using smarts.
I wonder when they made an announcement that they changed the way that the voting was done.
No, there was no announcement, because
that's like mishandling the whole thing.
We had reached out to MTV saying, hey, do retweets count? Do multiple votes count? And so all we could do was go off the data that Lord of the Rings Project provided, because they were counting votes, and then all we could do was check the stats page, because the MTV page updated every 60 seconds. So it wasn't real time. It was like every minute the MTV page updated. So so all we could do was go off of that. And
well, Instagram was also going to be featured in the show, according to the contest. They were encouraging people to make very creative images
and hashtag it, and so all those votes started counting.
They did, and they promised that they would show some of the most creative images from the contest during the broadcast, and they did not.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
They did not. But yes, Instagram was not to be neglected. Twitter, combined with the hashtags on Instagram, made for this burgeoning set of numbers for our votes.
So when Bilbo hit 500,000 first, that's when the press started picking up.
Yes.
And the CNN Entertainment blog, the Yahoo Entertainment blog, and MTV itself blogged that this race has heated up.
Oh, yes?
Like, as if it wasn't hot already, like 500,000 votes on each side. I mean, I hope Axe got their money's worth for sponsoring, because that was a heck of a lot more votes than anyone ever expected.
Especially when Bilbo was in the basement with 226 votes on the first.
I bet you if we hadn't started, I bet you she would have got 100,000 votes, and that would have been it.
And Bilbo probably not have broken 500.
I'll bet you, I'll bet you that Snow White would have got 100,000 votes and Iron Man would have got 20,000, and that would have been the day. But you combine all the votes now, and they got 30 times the number of votes. So this was a huge campaign.
Oh, yes.
And a huge engagement for the sponsors. So good on you.
Yes, indeed.
So we just kept battling, and that's when Lord of the Rings project added tags to his timeline. So upon my request, I said, "Hey, when we hit 500,000 and we surpassed Snow White again," I said, "Mark it on the graph." And so Emil added this little note that says,
out of the frying pan or into the fire. Yep. He would add little notes every time our tally would go above hers or below.
And I had tweeted, out of Twilight Town we come. Instead of out of Goblin Town.
Yes, out of
Twilight Town. We come, and what the best part is that we have so many hardcore fans that I got called on Twilight Town as being something from the Disney PlayStation video game with Sora and Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts. No, but you weren't making a Kingdom Hearts reference.
I know, but Kingdom Hearts, the main town is called Twilight Town. But it was a joke on Goblin Town. So we just kept going, and then that's when the images started kicking in, and that's when when we hit 500,000, that's when a lot of our staff members at TheOneRing started photoshopping their own posters and posting them on Instagram and stuff. The grand total, we had over 27,000 images posted
from Instagram
to Instagram.
Yep,
27,000. This is in a week. That's a lot of photoshops.
I quoted you in the article here, Justin.
That is so many photoshops. Like the fans were just getting crazy.
27,000 vote Bilbo pictures on Instagram in 1 week. Yep. There's something for everyone to run with. Do you know? Amazing effort. And those memes were all organic. They were all created organic. Just by fans.
This wasn't a marketing department. This was fans genuinely coming up with reasons why you should vote Bilbo.
The official movie Twitter, The Hobbit movie, the official account for Warner Brothers supporting The Hobbit, only tweeted about this contest once.
And that got us over the first hump.
But that did provide, tens of thousands of new votes.
But that was back at 78,000.
Oh yes, it was.
So.
But I'm just saying we did the rest of the heavy lifting is what I'm saying.
And that was upon request. We had reached out to Warner Brothers saying, hey, can you guys help us? We have a chance at this. And so Warner Brothers, being the smart people that they are, having done all the DC Comics movies, they did multiple tweets. They said, hey, look, MTV's contest, Batman and Catwoman and Bilbo are nominated. So good on them.
Yeah.
But we kept going, and then
we did.
We woke up.
We knew we couldn't stop because we thought, oh look, if we get a little bit of a lead, we can relax. And then we realized.
I really thought like I can relax. No, these tryhards don't give up.
No, they don't.
They don't give up.
Not even up to the last minute. The conditions of voting changed yet again when early announcements about the rules were that the cutoff was like a day before the ceremony. Then they changed the rules and said cutoff date for the voting would be right up until the live broadcast, right up to the moment.
And then it changed again.
Yes, it did.
Through the broadcast.
Yes, it did. Right through the broadcast, even right up until the point when it was announced that was still, being voted on. But
we woke up I think it was Thursday morning. We woke up to an insane surprise.
What was that?
Some fans had edited a video of Twilight.
Yes.
All the scenes where Bella looks at Wolfman and Bella looks
when she looks at Edward Cullen. When she looks at Edward. Yes.
So all these shots of her like looking dreamily and when the camera cuts to the male figure, whether it was Wolfman or Vampire Man.
Yes.
They had not just photoshopped, but used After Effects and video pokery.
Really clever After Effects.
Aragorn and put Thorin and put Legolas.
They put Legolas, Aragorn, Gimli. Gandalf shows up, and in the very last shot, it ends up being Craig Parker as Haldir. Yes,
that was
that was very funny that it ends up being Haldir that she's lying in a forest with, and appropriate. Where else would you lie down in a forest with Haldir, right?
But that took it to another level. And
then the MTV blogs reported on that.
Not only MTV blogs, but a ton of other websites said this game, this contest, this internet voting contest has just gone to the next level.
It sure is.
That was unbelievable. And nobody at TheOneRing did that. It was all fans.
It was a fan named Spiegel. Hello, Spiegel EI. Thank you for posting that. That was amazing. And it showed up on Vimeo, got a lot of attention. You know, it was never on YouTube. It was on Vimeo.
Yeah, because it was set to the music of "Better Put a Ring on It"
by Beyonce.
So it was
Single Ladies. It was the Single Ladies song, and they were showing the song and making jokes on the lyrics about some other guy looking at me, you know, and they were showing that Kay Stew, or her character Bella Swan, was being courted to come over to the side of Ringers and Lord of the Rings characters. Yeah, so it was really clever. It was really clever. Very funny.
Broke it open, and that's when we got a lot of comments from SWAT fans and K-Stu fans like, what is going on? This just took it to a whole nother level.
They didn't know who we were, did they?
with all of the media attention and with all of the MTV itself actually blogging about this video, we thought Bilbo has a chance. Well, guess what? We couldn't still catch a break. Those tryhards stepped it up into gear, and we just couldn't. We couldn't get any faster. So. The creativity of fans are the reason. And so by this point, everybody was having so much fun.
Yes.
And all of the staff at TheOneRing, all the volunteer staff, there were hundreds of emails going back and forth like, well, what can I do? Well, what can I do? It really felt like, like a team of hobbits, the whole fellowship, like, what must I do? What must be done? I have my axe and my bow and my Photoshop and my video editing. The Happy Hobbits made a video. So-and-so made a video. She made a meme. They made a Photoshop.
All the creative elements that you expect from our very creative audience, it ended up becoming a wave, powerful force. This was a tsunami wave. It could not be stopped, and when it reached the shoreline, it was devastating. It was really, really, really big. And it all started from you, my friend. It all started from this guy sitting right here next to me, trying to rally the troops together.
Well, guess what?
It was an incredible exercise in community building.
And
really was.
The thing that the biggest reward for us, for me especially, and for the entire staff of TheOneRing was seeing all the transition of the comments and the likes on Facebook. Now, Facebook was a non-voting platform, so this was just a spectator, twice daily updates on Facebook. But at the beginning, we got a lot of comments from fans and people that liked our page saying, we don't want this on our page, and this is useless, and this is stupid, and why are you even doing it? But by the end, everybody was on board, and we were getting 1,000 likes on every post, and people were sharing it, and we got a ton of shares.
Oh yes.
And it was just the fandoms just kept going. So by the time Saturday came, it was still neck and neck. And then Sunday morning, SWAT fans, Kristen Stewart fans woke up, and they were 100,000 down.
Were they really?
And they had decided to boycott the awards. There was a boycott that they wanted to organize against the awards from earlier. And here's the core of that. Let me make sure we get the record straight. Because over all these years, Twilight has been very much celebrated and put on a pedestal at the MTV Movie Awards.
However, for Breaking Dawn,
Part 2.
They did not get any of the categories or nominees that they wanted. They got one nomination for Taylor Lautner for Best Shirtless Performance. Oh joy, and he won. He actually won in the category for Best Shirtless.
But for every Twilight movie, they had been nominated for Best Kiss.
Best Kiss was always Kristen Stewart, Robin Pattinson, and they were always the winner. Far and away, they were the best winner of Best Kiss, Best this, Best that. But Breaking Dawn Part 2 was shut out of all the categories.
All major categories.
The only mention that they got was Taylor Lautner in his shirtless category, and then we had a possibility of Snow White being voted by a vote-in. And it wasn't even done as a regular category. It was a vote-in for the fans. And that's why the K-Stu fans were really, really so upset.
And we got a lot of messages
sorry to say,
saying that people were voting for Bilbo because K-Stu did not deserve for Snow White. You know, if she was nominated for Twilight, then yeah, okay, she's a heroine in that movie and whatever, but not for Snow White.
Why wouldn't? Don't you think that it would have been smarter? Perhaps it would have made more of a point to me if they had just nominated Bella Swan as Best Hero.
Right.
But by that time in the story, she's turned into some kind of wicked vampire, and we're not sure if she's a hero or not, or whatever. But
so by Sunday morning, Kristen Stewart fans had called the boycott.
Really?
And so it was going to happen. Everyone was going to watch Breaking Dawn Part 2 during the telecast instead of watching the telecast and tweet about it. And it worked because they got globally trending for it. And so that became the news story. So you start to, but Ringers didn't give up. They were they just spent the last 2 weeks fighting a great battle. So it was just like, we got to keep going.
Yes.
So on the last day, you start to see Bilbo just break ahead of the pack, and we ended up winning by a lot. But
a lot.
But the follow-up, the big struggle was that everyone was expecting the award to be given out as every other award, on stage or in a major way with like an actual celebrity or host presenting the award, even if no one was there, you guys voted and we didn't even get that. MTV canceled whatever they had planned for the Best Hero Award giving out at the awards. They basically threw it off the whole telecast, and the only mention it got was in a backstage. We're live backstage, and it looks like Bilbo won. Anyway, back to you.
That was it. Do you know what? It was not even part of the ceremony. It was not on the main stage. As I mentioned in the story that we published today, the whole thing was relegated to a commercial bumper for Axe Apollo body spray. And it was a commercial bumper that was being shown right in between the commercials and the actual broadcast, where they had one of their co-host girls backstage with a guy in an astronaut suit, which was part of the marketing campaign for Axe, evidently. And she said, okay, it looks like Bilbo won. All right, that's it. Congratulations. Back to you. And when people were watching a broadcast on a streaming video, they didn't even see the category being broadcast because the broadcasters online considered it part of the commercial break. Since it was part of the commercial break, it was not part of the real awards telecast. So thousands and thousands of fans internationally who were not able to watch live cable of MTV, they didn't even see it at all. As our friend Neil, Brighter Moon, tweeted during the middle of the awards ceremony.
So it was a lot of work and a lot of effort, and the reward was fans coming together, but there was just no respect. And we had reached out, TheOneRing had reached out early on and throughout the week to confirm press badges, and because we wanted to be interviewing celebs on the red carpet like we have done at many events.
Yes, indeed.
For you guys, and we didn't even get a courtesy don't show up. And so since then, we've kind of done some digging and kind of done some sniffing around because Kristen Stewart was definitely in Southern California. She definitely was in LA. There are photos of her and Robert Pattinson at Coachella earlier that that day. And again, the award show were in the evening on Sunday, so there's plenty of time to get back. So rumor has it that there were a lot of promotional. There was a lot of stuff planned around Kirsten winning Best Hero, including like skits on stage and pre-produced videos, and jokes, and like there was more integration planned. But when it became when it was like when Bilbo won, MTV had to throw out the entire script, just throw it out because there was no chance. And
that's an interesting rumor.
And one of the validating points of this rumor is that if you go to all the MTV's official accounts on Twitter and Instagram, and MTV Movies blog, MTV, you can see tweets where they say vote Snow White. On the last 2 days, MTV itself was saying, "Hey guys, vote Snow White."
Yeah, they were trying to promote
MTV
the contest.
didn't say vote Bilbo. Anytime they mentioned vote Bilbo, they always put both people in the tweet because they wanted to keep it even. But in the last day and a half, MTV itself was voting for Snow White. So,
and plugging for that.
So I think there's that helps to validate the rumors that there was something big planned, and
we ruined it.
And maybe that's the reason we didn't get press badges, and maybe that's the reason we haven't had any follow-ups, and maybe that's why they took the voting page down as quickly as they could.
And why, when you look at the webpage for all the list of winners, that category for Best Hero was not included, originally not included on the list of winners. Right. Only a day later did we find out that it was corrected and that they did update it to actually include the online voting category.
So,
interesting.
So there was a lot of little,
it is on the list now.
Discrepancies. Yes. I wouldn't call it shenanigans, but let's just call it discrepancies. But when look, if I'm a producer of the award show and I work at the ad agency and I work at the marketing companies and I set this whole game up.
Yes.
And from the get-go, it was obvious that Snow White was going to win, and the Twilight, that was going to be the reward for Twilight fans. If all that went the wrong way, then I didn't have a backup. I bet you that they planned on this being the reward. So
I wonder. I do have to wonder about that. We've also been hearing rumors that Mr. Martin Freeman, who does not have a Twitter account and probably doesn't care to, we heard rumors that he was very happy with the outcome, with the grassroots support from fandom for him. We actually heard some other comments from Martin Freeman's wife that were quite disparaging towards MTV networks, but we won't go there.
Right.
But we've been hearing all kinds of rumors, left and right.
So, wrapping up here, the important part of this whole thing was to bring back the fun in fandom. And at the end of the day, at the end of the week, one of the last most valuable vote Bilbos we got on Sunday afternoon was from Royd Tolkien. Tolkien himself, a family member of Tolkien, the family, Roy Tolkien, who's been on our show before.
Yes.
He voted for Bilbo, and that was the reward. When you start seeing people like Luke Evans and Sean Astin and everybody else like voting for Bilbo.
And even Dominic, and it's not even his bloody movie, and he is like, vote Bilbo, for sure.
Oh, we love Dominic Monaghan.
He's very supportive of this fan community, and he still is years later. And you know what? The word community has come up in this conversation several times today, but I don't think we can really underemphasize it. Perhaps I should say we can't overstate it.
We can't overstate
We cannot overstate it. But look at these numbers. You see the votes for all those other guys? They stayed on the bottom of the graph.
Look at this graph.
Those people who were trying to vote for classic characters like Batman. You're trying to vote for The Dark Knight. He's a great classic hero. And you're talking Christopher Nolan's final Batman film.
There's a lot of Batman fans.
But there's a lot of Batman fans. And look, he was in the dust compared to the other votes that were cranked for these characters.
So one of the things that we found is one of the most rewarding parts of this whole experience was the community. And we got many messages, emails, through our email, through our website, on Facebook, on Twitter. We got so many messages from fans saying, "Thank you for doing this." In fact, one of the most encouraging things was, so that they used to frequent TheOneRing.net back in 2002, 2003.
Yes.
And this Vote Bilbo campaign re-galvanized his love of fandom and Lord of the Rings fandom.
And he said, "This feels like I'm back in 2001, 2002, in the hardcore feeling of this fandom."
I think we got more energy. We got more fan energy out of this than I think even when the movie came out. I mean,
isn't that funny?
This was the thing that just got everybody, because we had fun. There wasn't anything at stake. It wasn't all about going to see, it was all about just people and in the Lord of the Rings project, he said, "I had no idea there was this size of a community out there." Everybody's Twitter followers went up across the board, big and small.
Yes,
the fans,
lots and lots and lots.
I think everybody watching here that was part of this, you got more followers last week because the community became bigger.
It did. Much bigger. And much more aware of why we feel like we belong together as a community. We're not doing it for one particular actor. We're not doing it for one particular director, although we do appreciate everything that Peter Jackson has been doing. We kind of wanted to bring this together because we share a love of the books and the stories and what those stories mean to us. And the way Bilbo behaves means something to us. It's not just, oh, there's another actor putting on a suit of armor to go do some other movie. This is like, how have we been feeling about Bilbo and all of his sacrifices and all the challenges that he faces for the past 75 years? We've been feeling this response to this character, and we had a chance to vent our feelings in a very fun, and creative way. It was great.
That this fandom is as strong as ever.
Oh yes.
And
surprisingly so.
There were many campaigns, marketing campaigns, whether it was Denny's or Air New Zealand. It was when The Hobbit came out last year. But this was just a reminder that the fandom can be used for good, and if you motivate us in the right direction, Ringer fans will come up and step up to the challenge.
What happens next year at the MTV Movie Awards when Thorin Oakenshield might be the nominee for Best Hero?
No spoilers. Don't tell me.
I don't know. I'm not spoiling anything.
Okay.
I'm so not spoiling anything, but I wonder. Who knows? You know what? We had a lot of things going on our plate. We had just finished March Madness. We had done an amazing thing with bringing fans together to vote on a March Madness bracket with lots of characters from Tolkien.
And that was right after the Oscar party.
And then we did a real big showstopper of an April Fool's joke that caused a lot of energetic response. And then we had to go to WonderCon.
And then WonderCon.
That all happened in the same time that MTV announced this Best Hero Award. And by the time we looked at it, it's 226 for Bilbo, 17,000 for Castew. And it had almost gotten away from us. It almost got away from us. Almost.
Well, this is what fandom is all about. And people were asking at the get-go, they said, "Why are you doing this?" I said, "Because we need to have some fun. We've had so many organized efforts and panels and Oscar parties and Chicago Comic-Con C2E2s in a couple weeks. We'll be there with a panel.
That's great.
So check us out. Come to C2E2 and say hello.
Go in
and high five some Vote Bilbos.
Oh yes, they're going to be drinking and partying.
But we think
in Chicago, because that's what they do in Chicago.
Sometimes you just have to have fun. Where nothing's at stake, you don't have to spend any money.
Yes.
You can just get millions of fans around the world behind one thing. We got celebrities, actors, head geeks, and ringers, and fandom across the board.
We got some OG fans from the 60s. And we got them to sit down and register new Twitter accounts just for the hell of it, just for fun, so that they could actually type in 140 characters or less why Bilbo is such a great hero.
So if you're an advertiser, come advertise with us because people will do stuff.
People will.
When they're motivated.
Yes. All eyes now on TheOneRing.net. Our increase in traffic and our increase in likes on Facebook, phenomenal.
And we have a ton of great content being published. And so stay tuned to TheOneRing.net for daily updates. We post stuff multiple times a day. And of course our Facebook and Twitter and our updated YouTube channel soon.
We have we're going to have a lot of new content that is provided by a lot of hardworking people. They're all volunteers. None of us ever get paid. We just do it because we love doing it and we're fans. So consider supporting our website. There's a PayPal link at the top of our live page. And actually, there's going to be some very interesting T-shirt exclusives. One of which we just had for a couple of days. We shut it down, didn't we? We had a brief window open.
You still have Peter's Dragon shirts
that
are up there. Of course, we've got Obey, Sauron, and May the Dwarves be with you.
One of our most popular designs.
So this has been super fun, and I'm glad that fandom was sparked and inspired to have some fun with this. And everybody did have fun with it. This wasn't life or death, and there wasn't a lot of ugliness. It was just fun. We made Photoshops, we got data feeds, we got videos, and most importantly, we got new fellow fans amongst each other, and
now they're aware of this place that we have. This is our forum. This is our community here on TheOneRing.net. You are welcome to join us on the message boards anytime for very spirited discussions. Please check in there and see what people are talking about.
And Bar of the Men's chat is open 24 hours a day.
The best old-fashioned IRC chat still running on the net. And what kind of coverage are we going to provide when they start doing reshoots down in New Zealand?
Well, we hope
that's going to be interesting.
We hope we have more adventures ahead of us.
We had our reporter Larry Curtis, who's a wonderful fellow, Mr. Sayre. He was embedded on set for much of last year doing principal photography, and right now in between film 1 and film 2, we're going to look forward to lots of excellent behind-the-scenes reports, exclusives to TheOneRing.net.
And if you find him in the various corners of the interwebs, you might find some exclusive photos popping up here and there that we can't officially acknowledge, but keep it up. So, till next time, I'm Justin.
And I'm Clifford, also known as QuickBeam.
And I'm going to go turn off the camera because this is just us. And there's nobody else but us hobbits.
Thank you for joining us on Torn Tuesday, guys. Until next time, au revoir, mes enfants.